Religious welfare communities and their adherents pretend to bypass political institutions, yet wholeheartedly depend on tax deductions and skirting the law. The trick of using religion and politics to split a community has been going on since the founding of the United States of America. The dependence of all forms of media that convey messages blatantly or hidden is a good way to bypass a person's mental state and create seeds of doubt or belonging. Attempting to follow a person, to create a real or imagined persona, depends on cult members, debt, forms of brainwashing that begin in the home, and bipolar reasoning to instill a mind state that is easier to exploit. Repetition of certain ideals, passed down through cults and sometimes even through entities that want to continue to exist inside humans, prevent true enlightenment and advancement. To exist in this system would mean to exist in a predetermined framework with predetermined outcomes. Using the media in all its forms to continue to create a bullshit identity to be used for the purpose of cult motives is the general outcome for people who chose to create debt in themselves and others. If a mouse is always dependent on a piece of cheese, then hiding that piece of cheese in an institutional structure is the best way to trap a person. If that is not sufficient, sometimes a person will be granted the opportunity to believe that they represent a statistical outlier. This way of thought creates a look of freedom, but dependence on community or the dependence on media. Eventually, being drawn into a nomadic way of life or breaking moral or economic codes for sustenance will further pervert a rational mind. Survival can create mental fissures and breaks from reality that allow a detrimental lifestyle to be achieved and maintained. Depending on loopholes, welfare, hidden children, hidden debts, and various forms of media to smooth out the anomalies and wrinkles leaves a rational person in an endless puzzle, intentionally of someone else's making. By identifying people and their excuses for their way of life that put a drain on resources and happiness for the sake of a community, their children, their dreams, and bolstering institutions while pretending to be outlaws or quaint religious fundamentalists, one will see where the true bottlenecks and abusers inhabit. Dependent on forms of mysticism and intrigue, these persons and practitioners will subvert and dilute common sense by using any excuse available. These actions have been done to such an extreme measure, there is a veritable script or pattern that these persons in question adhere to. Once you have broken free from the fraudulent activities of the person, group poverty, and community issues, be it ethnic, religious, economic, and even criminality, community members can and will be used to intentionally create a new set of obstacles to overcome. Once an obstacle is overcome, a new hand-picked family is used to create more hardship and plan dissolution, while being portrayed as pillars of the community or the new accepted population that has risen from the ashes of ageism and commonality. In popular culture, the second Matrix movie shows Neo, the protagonist, who has finally reached the promised land, Zion. Neo was not given a day's rest before he would be wheeled out as a Jesus or John the Baptist there to solve the problems of the world, who is lining up for their chance to take freedom and greatness.